Pittsburgh's going to go out and get some type of quarterback, whether that's Ryan Tannehill, whether that's Russell Wilson, whether that's Justin Fields.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. So the Pittsburgh Steelers find themselves in such a fascinating spot. Despite being the fourth worst offense in the National Football League last season, firing Matt Canada, their offensive coordinator, halfway through the year, they still went 10-7. Despite all three quarterbacks, they went through three different quarterbacks, Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, and then finally Mason Rudolph. It's crazy and it's super impressive that they ended up making the playoffs. But on February 13th, CBS Sports' Ryan Wilson predicted that the Steelers were going to target Washington quarterback Michael Penix Jr. at the 20th overall pick. Now, these were reports following that Mason Rudolph has, quote-unquote, indicated that he wants a fresh start and intends to leave the Pittsburgh Steelers. The day after that, the Pittsburgh Steelers released Mitch Trubisky at quarterback, and we've been hearing Mike Tomlin and Steelers president Art Rooney that the team desires to bring quarterback competition in for Pickett. So they have a whole variety of different options. But at the end of the day, folks, I still need more pop. I need more zip. Justin Fields in the last couple of days has, because of Adam Schefter, kind of appeared. And, Steelers fans have been talking about Justin Fields, trading for Justin Fields for quite some time now. And here was the actual quote. "We know that Pittsburgh is going to go out and get some type of quarterback," ESPN's Adam Schefter said during an interview on the Pat McAfee show. "Justin Fields, I know Mike Tomlin is a big fan of Justin Fields. We'll keep that in mind during the offseason in the coming weeks." So there's a lot to dive into here. They got their offensive coordinator in Art Smith, who I think Arthur Smith is just perfect for this, whether it's Kenny Pickett, whether it's Mason Rudolph, whether it's Justin Fields, whether it's Michael Penix. I think Arthur Smith is the guy for the job, and I'm so glad they actually hired him. But before we get into today's video any further, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. I post a ton of Steelers videos on this channel. We're going to keep that going all off season, so stay tuned. The Steelers fans, especially, if you could try and get this video to 250 likes, that would mean the absolute world to me. So bottom line is this, guys. The Pittsburgh Steelers have lost 5 straight playoff games. 5 straight playoff games. And their starting quarterback, Kenny Pickett, just like Justin Fields, and honestly, just like Mason Rudolph, kind of got the short end of the stick. Ankle injury last season. He only played, this season. You guys get what I mean. This past season, Kenny Pickett only played in 12 games. All right. Now, the offense coordinator, Matt Canada, was clearly not the man for the job, right? And Kenny Pickett in his rookie season was throwing a lot of interceptions, but we saw so much potential there, and he ends up, being QB1. And in the preseason, the Pittsburgh Steelers scored a touchdown on all of their drives as starters, as first string. When the first string starters were out on that field with Kenny Pickett, they only had touchdowns. All right. But his production and his big-time playmaking ability that we saw at Pittsburgh, we did not see that this past season. And it really sucks because Kenny Pickett, when Matt Canada was relieved of his duties, had the best game of his season by far. But what I have issues with, even though Matt Canada was kind of trying to turn him into more of a game manager, is he has only one game with multiple touchdown passes. And he only has one game over 300 passing yards, and that was in his first ever career start against the Buffalo Bills. So, Arthur Smith, Kenny Pickett's only in his second year, right? He's entering his third year, so they got a couple more years under contract for him, and I could definitely see Arthur Smith unlocking him. But like we were talking about earlier, Justin Fields, I don't think you'd be giving up much compensation for him. I've seen like a straight up 20th pick, the first round pick from the Pittsburgh Steelers for Justin Fields. You will not need to do that unless you have a team like the Atlanta Falcons or the Las Vegas Raiders, like really try and snag him, really try to bring up that trade value. But you're not going to need to give up a first round pick. What you're probably going to need to give up for Justin Fields is like a second round draft pick and, in a 2025 fifth or sixth round pick. Now, Justin Fields is very similar to Kenny Pickett in the sense of situationally not in the best, right? Luke Getsy was never the right offensive coordinator for Justin Fields. And even when Arthur Smith was still the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, we all kind of thought that he would be the guy to unlock Justin Fields. So I would actually go as far to say is I do think the Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback next season will either be Justin Fields or Kenny Pickett. Now, Justin Fields has had moments with the Chicago Bears. This past season, he did very good. He set a career high in passing yards, completion percentage. He also threw for a career low 9 interceptions. He does has fumble issues, but he gives a playmaking threat that I just haven't seen from Kenny Pickett. The Chicago Bears were tied for 3rd in the NFL in big-time plays in the last 2 seasons. So, I get it, man. The Bears' offensive line was not good. He didn't really have any weapons until this season with pretty much only DJ Moore and a little bit of Cole Kmet. Kenny Pickett, though, had a pretty solid offensive line, a really good running back room, and some solid wide receivers. But once again, he kind of got shafted because he has a great game once Matt Canada was relieved, and then he gets injured. But for me, it's like, I don't think Mason Rudolph is going to go anywhere because I think being a starting quarterback, his best opportunity is most likely going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. We'll talk about drafting a rookie in just a second here, but I just need more, man. We're in an offensive-driven league right now, and I don't watch Kenny Pickett in the last 2 seasons, even with all these obstacles, and I just don't see that big-time playmaking ability there. I don't see that pop. I don't see those wow throws where I just, kind of drop my jaw and be like, damn, that's the Kenny Pickett we're trying to see at a consistent level. Like, that just hasn't really happened. And I love Kenny, and I would not complain if he was QB1 for Pittsburgh, but obviously the whole competition is good. My thing is with Mason Rudolph versus Kenny Pickett this year, it's like, if my starting quarterback, my solidified starting quarterback goes down with an injury, and my backup QB wins a couple of football games and gets the team into the playoffs, it shouldn't be a question of who should the starting quarterback be for the Buffalo Bills game. Snow, rain, perfect sunshine, it doesn't matter to me. It was a clear-cut consensus that Mason Rudolph should be the quarterback for that football game. And I think if Kenny Pickett truly was the franchise guy, the guy after Ben Roethlisberger, that wouldn't be a question. And for that reason alone, that's why all these questions have entered my mind. Now, you have the 20th pick, and I have seen some interesting draft ideas. I've seen them trading up for pick number 10. Now, you look at a mock draft right now, everything's different. You've got Michael Penix going top 10. You've got Michael Penix going in the 2nd round. You've got Michael Penix going pick number 20. I've seen Bo Nix go 20 for the Pittsburgh Steelers. My point is the Pittsburgh Steelers have so many options. They got the right offense coordinator in Arthur Smith, and now you just need to figure out the quarterback. And unfortunately, that's the most difficult thing to do in the NFL. You see franchises go decades without having a franchise quarterback. So this is my question for Pittsburgh Steelers in day 2 of the offseason, or day 3 of the offseason. Who do you want as quarterback? Would you go with Kenny Pickett? Would you re-sign Mason Rudolph? Are you drafting a QB? Are you trading up and drafting a QB? Are you trading for Justin Fields? Are you going to sign a guy like Ryan Tannehill and hope that's the competition for Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph or whatever? So let me know what you guys are thinking down below. As always, hit that like button, hit that sub button. We got a ton of Steelers content coming the way up until the draft day at the very least. So stay tuned for that. Have a great rest of your week. Happy Valentine's Day, and we'll see you soon.